In this episode, we answer the question that I've gotten the most out of the 150 talks I've done in the last 6 months. Here's the burning question. Check it out. Welcome to the Ask DLG show. This is episode number 23. My name is actually Dr. Living Good, and if you're new, whole new look happening here from a perspective of we're up in our game, wanting to bring you the best content. Why? Because health is one of the biggest problems we have in the United States right now. Literally just reading stats the other day, it's almost 18% of our gross domestic product as a country. So this is a huge problem facing everybody, and we want to bring the best because the message matters, and you matter from a health perspective. So we're going to dive right in. Listen, over the last, 6 months, depending on when you're watching this, I've literally spoke about 150 times. We've been busy this year, but there's so many requests for people to experience real health. And every single time I speak, here's the questions or conversation that comes up. So I wanted to share it today as a topic. So I don't have a necessary person asking this question, but so many of you are wondering this from a perspective of what is it that you actually do, DLG, what is it that you actually do? And are you a primary care physician? And what's the difference between other chiropractic? Kind of all balled into one question. So let me break this down for you. You know, it's such an interesting conversation when I go and I do speak and I walk people through and just watch their eyes light up. And maybe this will ring true with you as well, is that when you look at our current model, there's really 3 approaches we're taking when it comes to health. Number 1 is a lot of men are doing this. Maybe you can relate. You're just flat out doing what with your health? You're ignoring it. You're waiting for the whole body to break down. Like imagine if you did this with your car, you wouldn't have a car left. So you literally are taking better care of your car than you are of this vehicle, which bad idea. But we're waiting for it to break down, and then once we get to this point where there's symptoms and the check engine lights are going off, then all we're doing is putting a bunch of piece of black tape over the check engine light, and we just keep driving, which you've ever done that. My wife's car right now has literally 5 check engine lights going off. We need a new car, but we are not using black tape on it, so don't do it to your health. And what that looks like is the medications, the surgeries, we're just covering these things up. But the second you come off, like if you're listening right now and you're on a thyroid medication, or you're on a blood pressure medication, or a cholesterol drug, or an aspirin, or a Tylenol, if you stop taking that, what happens to the condition? It comes right back. And so then you're not actually fixing the problem. And by law of nature, if you're not fixing something, it's getting worse. So it's going to go the opposite direction. So here's what we do that's different, is all we've been taught is that people are just waiting around before the sickness shows up. In fact, if you go and you get a physical and you pass the physical, what do they do to you? Nothing. They don't do anything to you. So you literally have to be sick in order to enter our healthcare system. And then once you're sick, you're just taught to cover up the sickness with a drug or surgery. That, my friends, is not healthcare. That is sick care. So what's so different about what we're doing is we're helping people experience real healthcare. So my whole day is surrounded by walking thousands of people through how do we take them from where they're at with the symptoms, whether they know about them or they don't know about them, and move them to better function and to better health. Ideally, we would catch them before they get sick and prevent that. If they are sick, how do we help them overcome these conditions, come off the medications, avoid the surgery? So that's primary care. Like I went to school, most people don't know this, it's crazy. I had to go to 8 years of school, and through the 8 years of school, I had to get a full degree. To get a doctorate, I literally had to go through, chiropractors in general have to go through learning all about the body. We had cadavers, we had broke down anatomy, we had to do lab tests, all of that we had to break down. And then the split is, instead of learning a bunch about drugs and surgeries, we went and learned about the nervous system, health, nutrition, all that stuff. So instead of learning about disease, we learned more about how do we actually get people healthy. So I'm a primary care physician. Like you could come into our office for anything. I don't use drugs and surgeries to get to the bottom of it. And so the question I'm always getting is like, well, how do you get people from point A to point B? We're not going to do it with drugs and surgeries. And what I found, you don't want that in the first place. And so what we want is actually get to the cause of the issue. No one's leading you through that. So we've been able to get top primary care physician for just our area in the last couple of years because here's what we're focusing on. If we can allow your body to work the way it's designed to, then it's going to work the way it's supposed to. So what that means is just don't mess it up. Like the greatest doctor in the world's on the inside. It's not Dr. Living Good. It's not Dr. Phil or Dr. Oz or any other doctor. It's you that's the best doctor in the world. So if we can let that doctor do its thing, then your body's going to heal the way it was already designed to. So we got to remove the interference. So the model of what we do, what I break down for people at all these talks and people that run into me, is that we're removing the interference through the 3 T's of interference. And number 1 is your thoughts, your thinking, your stress, all that stuff you're carrying around, which you don't have to carry that around. And so get yourself some perspective, realize your problems aren't that big, and move towards a state of gratitude towards health. Number 2 is we're breaking down toxins. Everyone wants to jump to this right away. All that crappy food that you're eating, all of the lack of exercise that you haven't started doing or do not often enough. How do we break those down and actually show you how to eat real food and get you fit? And it only takes 10 minutes a day. And so we guide them through that. And then we're breaking down trauma. This is the biggest missing piece when it comes to healthcare, is we're not talking about it. No one's discussing this. And I will go to my grave working on this, because the most important system we have is the nervous system. And so that's the place we start. That's how we get the results that we get. I mean, think about it. What's controlling every organ, every cell, everything going on inside of you? Your brain, your nervous system. So if you have a stomach problem, guess what I'm going to check? Your nervous system. If you have a thyroid problem, guess what I'm going to check? Your nervous system. We have to work there first. So when you remove that interference, then you're allowing the body to move towards 100% and work the way it was already designed to. So it's so much fun to me. Like I come alive from a perspective of teaching people how to experience real health instead of just waiting around for them to get sicker or just monitoring their sickness. So here's the sum up. The sum up is this: if you focus on health and you build health, you get health. If you focus on treating and managing diseases, you get diseases. And when I open people's eyes to that, that's the first step in them experiencing real health. And that's what DLG is all about. So I just think that's a big distinction. Even a lot of chiropractors just kind of play in the realm of just treating and waiting for your back to hurt. That's the difference about what we're doing here. And that's the difference between the allopathic, more medical model. So breaking that down today, I love the questions. Keep firing them away. Keep asking them. We're going to keep answering them. Why? Because your health matters so much. And for you to experience real health, you got to understand it first. So live good, my friends. We'll see you soon.